No, I was clogged. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
clogged it first and then I unclogged it. Yeah,
Aye.
exactly.
Aye, aye, aye.
Exactly.
Um,
Oh, shit.
so we were just, Brad was telling me stories about his daughter kicking some ass this weekend in Lax up
Yeah.
in north of Miami. So that's cool, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. She was killing it, man. They look, every girl on the team started playing this game a year and a half ago. And now they're starting to like kick it. So they've had 2 wins in a row. They've been through a lot of misery, a lot of losing. And my daughter was getting close to kind of giving up on it about a month ago. And she stuck it out. And now she's like, yesterday, she's like, I love lacrosse.
Well, there's nothing until you like get smacked in the mouth and taste some blood to get you fired up, man. To go out there, what that so and so?
She's loving it,
dude. That's
awesome.
awesome.
I took pictures yesterday, and there's one of her just checking this girl across the side. She's like, "Oh, I love that picture."
Yeah, I mean that's what it was like when we were kids. Lots of physical contact. And,
exactly.
We were fighting with people all the time, not like, knives and shit like that, but just little fist fights. And, and it kind of tempers the discourse because, you knew then if you said something that there could be consequences. And, now it's like, I feel like everybody just feels like they can say anything and, not risk obviously getting their teeth punched in.
Yeah.
So I like that. My daughter, the same way, super competitive, loves to beat the boys on the tennis court.
Nice.
I used to call her Boy Slayer when she was little. So
nice.
It sounds like you got the same thing going on, which I totally
same thing. Yeah. And this, look, her entire sports athletic history previous to this was gymnastics and competitive cheer. And competitive cheer is brutal. I mean, she was a flyer getting thrown in the air and everything else, but this is her first team competitive, hardcore, rough it up sport. She's loving it, so it's all good. Hey, I think we should. I've decided we're going to rename the show to the DeFi Llama Show.
Are they sponsoring us?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I was trying to tell. I was going to go like the golfer route and maybe get someone to sponsor me, and I'd wear their hat
on their hat. Yeah, that's good. I like that. No, I mean these fucking guys. I don't know if they have like 40 people on the team or what the fuck. They're launching Llama Lend. And it's not data like, the data that we were looking at last week of the this is lending against NFTs that aren't accepted in the big marketplaces. So it's a lending mechanism to leverage your low end NFTs that haven't gotten you any money, and to borrow against them.
So does it say how they assess the value? Because that was a thing we were always talking about last year with Doki things. Yeah,
they haven't. I don't think they've said how it works yet. Well, here we go. How does it work? No liquidations. Pay as you go works for extra small illiquid connections, fixed rates based on the pool utilization. Get assigned. Users could deposit their NFTs, get a signed price attestation from a server, and borrow 1/3 of the floor value. Okay, so 1/3 of the floor value of these NFTs in ETH. Then they have a 2-week repayment period, but they can repay at any time. Will only be charged interest for the time used. Interest is fixed at loan creation, determined by pool utilization rate. Only owner can provide ETH for borrowing, and if any loans expire, NFTs are just transferred to the pool owner. So it hasn't launched yet. They just put out the smart contracts on GitHub for people to review. But cool concept.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Here's the thing though: if you've got like ETHs that have had declining value or don't have a lot of market action, and you want to sell them but you can't, dump them here, borrow the ETH, and then just don't pay it back, right?
What was that one that was early on in the Doki cycle? There was not Doki, but there was another one before that where it was trying to do that same thing, where you could come in and there was NFTs and you could borrow against them. Was it like Doki 20 or something like that? Or
yeah, something like that. I remember vaguely.
But so what I look at when I see, what I want to know is, how do you determine the floor value?
Because I'm assuming they take it from OpenSea. Yeah. Yeah, I would
See,
assume
they
that's
need
where they're doing.
better price oracles like you talk about. Teller, if you're listening, decentralized price oracles for NFTs that somehow drives off of maybe your holdings. But anyway, where you can get more value, because the open sea, when nothing's going on in open sea, there's no floor value. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but here's what they say. They're not using traditional oracles. Their solution is a zero gas, on request, trustless oracles that are self-run and which fail safely. The way this works is that some server tracks minimum floor price for a configurable time period, e.g. a week, and when requested, signs a message with that price, which the user can submit on-chain to borrow ETH against that price. After that initial borrow action, no oracle is used anymore, since all that's left is for the user to repay the loan before the deadline. But even when the oracle is used to start the loan, no incorrect price can cause losses for the user, who can also verify the price in UI. Thus, the oracle doesn't require any trust at all from the user side. This is in stark contrast with most lending protocols, where an incorrect oracle update can cause everyone in lending market to lose money. It's very interesting.
Wait, so it sounds like what it's saying is that it gets a price from a bunch of different, I guess, oracles, and then you have to verify it in the via the UI, as it said, like to verify it. Maybe you could say, yeah, that sounds right. You go check.
Right.
Or maybe you're like, no, does that, something like where you can decline it too. That's a pretty cool feature.
Okay, so it looks like it's based on liquidity providers providing the pool, and they say that even if a user is liquidated, the liquidator is collection order that is incentivized to be friendly towards holders. So if liquidation was clearly a mistake, it's easy to just talk them and repay the loan manually after liquidation. Huh.
So I guess you take like a sponsor of an NFT collection, and they come there and park ETH to set up a liquidity pool, and then people come in and trade the NFTs within it, or borrow that ETH with the NFTs. Is that what we're saying?
I don't know. I don't know.
That sounds friggin' cool. If that's what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the pools don't come with built-in liquidation. The pool owner can attach any liquidation system they want.
So it sounds like they're setting up an LP. Like you would do.
They are. Yeah.
So are they setting it up like, for example, I'm just going to use Doki Doki because we all know, or we know them. It would be like, would they set up like a pairing between ETH and Doki there, and then people would trade that, or would it be something to do with pairing with NFTs?
It says that they're only targeting collection owners, so people who own these collections that you're trying to borrow against, and then the collection owner provides. So they have an incentive to want the NFT, I guess, is the idea. I don't know. It's a little confusing.
But it does get TVL for DeFi Llama, right?
Which doesn't have a protocol. This is I think this is their first protocol of any kind, unless there's some other project I don't know about.
Sounds like the first to me, because I haven't heard of anything.
It's really interesting.
We talk about them a lot.
Yeah. That's why I said we should rename the show the DeFi Llama Show. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, very interesting. They haven't launched yet, and I don't see any specific dates notified yet. There's a Twitter handle, LlamaLand, but people are talking about it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, look, the nice thing about having built a big reputation in the space and everybody uses your projects is that when you launch a protocol, you got a built-in audience,
right?
And so this is smart. I think it's really smart, and they're creating something that's not necessarily a saturated market. So it's very cool. Very cool.
I like that a lot. I mean, that's always been in my mind the issues with NFTs was that we were always trying to figure out how do you unlock how do you unlock the value within them. I mean, like I could see, say, chain binders being a group that would be great to go over there, since it's backed by ETH.
Already. Oh yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good idea.
That would be super cool.
Then
you should message those guys.
We should start a lending market against chain binders.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the team. Pitch it to those guys. There'll be 4 of us.
Because it's backed by ETH, right? Yeah, if you liquidate that collection, it's there. You can get the ETH out.
That's like their whole DeFi land concept on steroids.
That's fucking
You heard it here first. Brad says I'm fucking brilliant.
Joe is fucking brilliant.
No, but it's only because Brad's the one who turned me on.
I love that fucking concept. I still don't understand. I'm gonna go bust his chops. I do this every few months. Oh, idols too, Eamon. You're right, because those are backed as well. Oh shit, those are 2 good collections for it. That's yeah. Hey, Eamon, I sent you a text message. Get back to me, man. Please. That's actually good too. Backed NFTs. Anyway, I still don't understand to this day why he hasn't taken chain binders and deployed it as a fundraising protocol, because it's an absolutely brilliant way to raise money. 50 or 75% of the people who are buying the NFTs, who are contributing to your project, they get a cool NFT, maybe a storyline behind it. And they get 50 to 75% of the people get ETH backing for what they put in. So you could decide, okay, I'm going to give 25% back. I'm going to give 50% back, whatever. And yeah, you're cutting what you raise, but you're making your raise safer and a little more gamified, right? It's like, okay, cool. I'm getting an NFT that may represent later value in this project. And I have a 50% or a 75% chance of my NFT being backed by ETH in a cool gamified model that everybody that pulls out and burns their NFT, everybody else gets more value every time somebody burns their NFT to cash out.
Yeah.
So I never understood. I've said it to him like 12 times, dude. He's in the middle of a big game development. So, and it actually looks
Kazuna.
Really
it's the
cool.
Kazuna one. I'm in Kazuna. I never get to it, but it's a huge NFT thing. If you guys, it's Kazuna, Kizuna. But when you're in there, it also has all these collaborations they do with other NFT artists. And all you got to do is like maybe, do the Discord thing or do a Twitter thing. And, then you're in, and then you're on that inside track of an NFT offering that could be anything. So I recommend looking at that too. But I agree. Look, when we did the chain, not we did it, but when we played it, it was, they had a gotcha machine at the front end, everyone. And so what you did is it cost ETH to spin it. And I think I spent about, 10 grand worth of ETH to buy the chain binders token, which you then use to spin to get the various denominations of NFTs. Ones that were worth, tens of thousands down to ones that were worth, like at that point, $30, $20, worthless. Actually, there were a bunch that had no value.
Right.
And so you had that gamification, but the ones you got, were like, I think then the ratio for the LRs, the legendaries, was like 0.7 ETH or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, back then I think ETH was about 2, maybe 1,800. Because I remember, I think I pulled like 5 or 6, and I remember thinking it was about 10, and I'm going, oh, is this too much? But, look, I spun the first half, and I held the other tokens, BND, I believe. And, in that first go around from that 5 grand, I pulled NFTs worth, I believe, $12,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit. And so I held on to them. And as Brad points out, then when you can redeem them for that ETH backing it. And when you do that, it causes the ratio of redemption to go up over time. So there's a scarcity play in there. Yeah. So as the stuff is burned, and it's burned, it's just flat out gone.
It's gone.
That had other effects on the other partner tokens too, like I believe Azuki and Doki, where it triggered buybacks of those as well.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're coming out of it with an NFT has value.
Yeah, it's beautiful
because it's in the treasury and it holds it.
And I tell you what, I've got a collection I've been holding because it's every time I go to look at it, somebody else has burned a few of their NFTs and my ETH value has gone up, right? So the beauty is when the Ethereum, it's a great way to hold ETH, and don't be tempted to sell because it's locked in, and that every time somebody gets desperate and sells theirs, the value is going up. And you don't even care. The beauty of it is the NFTs themselves have market value in OpenSea, but you just know that more and more people are going to give up and burn their NFTs, and you're going to get 15% of what they should have gotten, right? Last man standing, last man standing, 747 ETH.
Yeah, well, look, it's like, right now when ETH is at like 1,300, I mean, there's no point to burn.
Right.
Why would you burn?
Because you're desperate for cash. Somebody that's desperate.
Yeah, you'd have to do it. But the idea is that nobody's going to be burning until, and if they burn, they're going to start burning around the 4,000 to 5,000 range.
Yeah.
If they want to redeem, thinking maybe it peaked.
Yeah.
But look, if they all burn then, like you said, that's the last man standing price, the 747, or is that the total in the treasury right now?
That's the total 747 ETH in there.
Okay. So anytime you burn, that goes down. Now, also, I think we got to be crystal clear on this one that I own Azuki, I own Doki, I own some chain binders still. Not shilling it, just talking about it, because this is, this model has so many applications. I think there might be, I mean, I don't want to be au contraire, but there might be maybe the ETH backing has something in the US of a regulatory issue, perhaps. I don't know. Does that make it a security? I don't know. I guess the SEC will tell us in 2032 based on the current progress.
The cool thing about these NFTs is that Roy and the team did amazing work. Original music compositions over the videos that they did. Huge, gigantic. Roy's a fantasy book writer too. Yeah. And huge, big storylines and origin stories behind the entire collection. It's really brilliantly done, and it did well enough, but it was also at the massive dump of the NFT market. But
yeah, this launched at the very last possible time.
Yeah.
And in the lockup, there was a 21-day lockup. In that period was when everything started falling off.
Now the interesting thing is, and again, I own, so
yeah.
We both know that I have a vested interest in anybody coming in here and buying more, but
or burning.
You can still buy them. You can still buy chain binders. There are still some left to roll. Yeah, wow. There are. And you now you have to buy, and that was the other cool thing is they released a token in it, right? So there was a token that went along with the
BND, I think it was BND.
Yeah, BND bind, yeah.
You could probably still get that on Must, right? Or Cometh?
Yeah, I think it's still there. I haven't looked, but it was brilliant. Oh, and then on top of it, you had the really cool Gachapon Doki Doki model.
Yeah.
Right? So you didn't know what you were going to get, and everybody paid the same price. And that makes it even cooler, because if you got a really rare one, it could be worth 10x what you paid for the original NFT. And it has immediate value.
More than that.
Well, yeah, more than that. But it has immediate value, like absolutely immediate value. So it's cool. I'm pretty. I love this project, and I think it has a shit ton of potential. I'm going to go back and bug him because
you should, man. Let's get him on the show. I know he was over.
I've got an interview scheduled with him. By the way, his game is called Shadow War. The game he's got coming out, and it's really cool. I mean, this isn't a full blown, 3D game. I mean, it's like the real deal, which is why he's been too busy.
Airdrop for our audience. When moon?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's one thing about he puts out some nice plays. I mean, the content is rich. There's a lot of storyline around it. These could go different directions. I mean, this could turn into an anime show, or this could turn series.
Yep, absolutely.
On Netflix. I mean, that's the kind of, because the content, didn't he have like 12 designers and studio people and recording artists?
Movie designers, animators from major studios, music recording, original score. I mean, everything about it was just.
So yeah, check it out. It's a good thing. And I just, you're right. We should talk to him about that protocol, because there are some other angles. And when I think about, like, again, treasuries, look, this is another, little peg in the diversification puzzle, or a little piece of the diversification puzzle, where, some of it is NFTs, just like, some of it could be real world stuff, this blends, it's like you want to cross the spectrum in these, particularly in these DeFi treasuries and these algorithmic stablecoin type pools where you need other stuff there. This is where I think all this stuff could possibly fit.
Yeah. New portfolio tool, kind of like Zapier, and DeBank, called Merlin. I've got Sifu's portfolio loaded up. I really like the interface. Unfortunately, like all of them, they've only got like 4 protocols in here for P&L calculation, and they have others coming soon to actually calculate profit and loss, but they still have value across all tokens pulled into here. And the interface is really, really nicely done. I'm really impressed with it. You can filter by chain, so you can see just Ethereum investments, etc. But a good way to also follow investors to see what they're up to. You can use this in a combination of, but you just plug in your own, connect your wallet, or you could connect, paste in somebody else's wallet. And then it shows you the most recent transactions on the wallet. So anyway, very nice interface. I think it has a lot of promise. I'd love to see it, I'd definitely love to see it continue to grow, because I think it's one of the better interfaces I've seen so far.
What's interesting is the question that all of these groups like this are going to be getting over the next 3 weeks, and they're going to get so sick of this question. And what do you think that question is, Brad?
I don't know, Joe.
You teed it up, man. When are you guys going to set up a lending function?
There you go.
Because DeFi Llama's doing it.
There you go.
So that's what they're going to be hating that question. So get your answers ready, everyone.
There you go. Speaking of DeBank, DeBank made some moves on their portfolio manager that I wasn't very excited about, but they are launching a messaging app for Web3 wallets. I'm assuming they'll start with Rabby, which is their wallet, which I use daily. The only time I use MetaMask anymore is when there's just a compatibility issue with Rabby, or I have to do testnet shit, or I have to add. Rabby still doesn't have the ability to add non-standard layer ones, or layer twos. So I have to use MetaMask for some of those. But I've been so impressed with the development of Rabby and of DeBank. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to see what they come up with. It's called DBank High. But it's essentially a messaging app built in, but I think they're doing something where they'll make it so that wallets can be messaged for a fee and the wallet holder gets money, et cetera, et cetera. So really interesting to do. They've got a whole white paper around it as well, but it's an interesting move by them. And frankly, a messaging system is desperately needed. Like, if nothing else, just broadcast messaging from projects to users is desperately needed. So this is good.
How do you see that vis-a-vis, like, say, Telegram or
well, it's
Twitter?
A competitor. Yeah. It's a competitor, right? But it's oriented to what you're
wallet centric, right? Like a wallet centric.
Yeah. And so, if there's been an exploit of a project, you get a message, right? You can message other people in the community. I don't know where all they're going with it, but certainly Niblets, shit, well, can remove that idea from my list of projects to do. EPNS messaging. Hey, dude, just because this one and I think there's one or two others are doing it, that just means you got market validation. You should build it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I frankly think that that's complete validation. Now, a wallet maker doing it, I think MetaMask has one as well, but never took off, gives them an existing universe of users if they build it directly into the implementation of the wallet or the portfolio manager. But it doesn't mean they're going to win the game. And somebody does it better and makes it easier and there's no centralized unit. See, look, here's another example. Rabby is a centralized corporation like Consensus with MetaMask, but I trust Rabby more than I do MetaMask. I'm waiting for Tally to have far more chains on the wallet, Tally Ho, because I'd love to switch to Tally Ho, because that is a completely decentralized open source wallet, whereas Rabby's a decentralized company and DBank's a decentralized company and MetaMask with Consensus is a decentralized company. It's a centralized company. So somebody comes up with something better that's decentralized, maybe you integrate it with a Tally Ho, I think you could be in a good position with a project like that.
Well, also, there's nothing better than building some tech and then licensing it to another project and being done with it and waiting, having a fat check and waiting for your royalties. Exactly. So that's another angle to play.
This is my projects and protocols to eliminate from any attention. This one is called Geeq. Some new protocol claims it's better than proof of stake and mining, but I don't give a shit because they are patenting their protocol. And, just what the fuck,
That sounds like the Amazon, what was it? The Amazon double click or the one click patents? Remember in .com days?
Yeah, but it's just like fucking blockchain. Go there. I'm sure they're doing enterprise supply chain, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. But, Eamon said that'd be sick to have messages in MetaMasks. Should have to pay to send a message so it isn't spammed. Yeah. And I think that's the way, I think that's what The banks is they're doing it as a you've got to be able to, you have to pay people, you have to buy an NFT to be able to message, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, but
wait, so Brad, does it take gas fees to send a message, or is it like a fixed fee?
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. I have no idea, but I doubt
that would be cool, because it would cut down on a lot of the spam and
right.
You know,
like,
if you look at
so
Twitter.
Imagine though, if you had a decent, you know, if you were in a target demographic or wallet or investor, NFTs, whatever, and people were going to pay you to look at a message, bring it on, guys. You know,
yeah, the whole country's going to be just sitting there going scroll, scroll, scroll.
Exactly. You posted this one up, Joe.
Oh yeah, it was a response to, you know, their argument on the Fed, you know, basically saying the same thing everybody else is saying, is they're looking at the wrong indicators, they're looking at the lagging indicators, not the front, and this is our interpretation, you know, of ARK's interpretation and what they think they should do. But, you know, I can sum it up. It means stop raising rates.
That should have been the entire email.
Yeah, message. That could be the headline right there. ARK extends open letter to Fed.
Stop raising
rates, and that's it. But it has a really good argument, and I don't know if everything's right, and I know there's other opinions, of course, and of course we have a U.S. perspective, and we have a, you know, there's multiple perspectives in the U.S., and you have a UK-centric, a EU, and, you know, developing world, and, you know, everybody's got their opinions. So this is hers. It's just worth reading.
Cool.
To know what she's saying, because it's all good stuff. I don't know if it's 100% accurate. Nothing really is.
Yeah. Shizzy says, yeah, all messages should have a gas fee. It would be annoying to get spam in my wallet. Niblet says, no, stop giving it away. I think he means the messaging. Is he talking about the patents? Niblets, are you talking about the patents, or are you talking about messaging? Let me know. Eamon says fee should go to the recipient for sending a reply back. Oh, that's a good idea. Like, and they could do like LinkedIn does with the like no button, don't bother me button, or not interested, right? You could reply back, and then you could automate on the sender side. Oh, okay, not interested, and it automatically blocks you from messaging about that again or something. That'd be cool. Anyway,
yeah, so, I like that.
I was having a call. I was doing an interview yesterday with a friend of mine. Saturday. I was doing an interview Saturday morning with a friend of mine. Niblet says, sorry, talking about messaging, giving all the good features away, his ideas. Okay. Hey, man, we'll consult. We'll collaborate. Yeah. We'll have to collaborate. I got a million ideas for a messaging system. Come on, let's do it. Anyway, he's building a system called Amplify, which is it's a referral system for DAOs, right? Allows them to track referrals into in-wallet actions. Very cool platform. Really nice guy. He's out of Australia. Really cool story too, his background and story. But anyway, he showed me this thing called Machinations. And evidently Machinations has been around for like a decade and a half. It is a economics and gameplay engine for games to measure and chart and diagram out what is the best flow of rewards and earning and how gameplay goes and dopamine hits and the whole bit. But people are now using it for Web3 games, and evidently people are actually using this platform to chart out and let me get rid of this search here and chart out Web3 tokenomics, because it's a charting protocol to talk about, it kind of guides you through. I'm just going to open one up here. It kind of guides you through, what the potential, and I have no idea what this is, but what the potential machinations are, what the incentives would be, et cetera, et cetera. Our boys at Nova Rally are actually, they offer it as a service as well, where they'll run through your tokens, your structure, and determine whether your structure is good enough or not. So they'll do a full review of your.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty coul. And I had no idea this existed. So Nova Rally's here. He's being reviewed. It says it's a really cool system. I didn't know it existed for games, much less that people were now using it for tokenomics. But
well, I saw something on this, but it wasn't the same concept. But it was talking about strategy and valuation, in a similar model that now you have to, I think we used to call it real options, back in the day, but you have to, like, when you're doing a roadmap or a business plan or strategic plan, you encounter these points in the marketplace, like when you get to certain sizes or certain other things happen, and there's multiple outcomes that can occur in that revenue line, let's say.
Exactly.
That product line. And so you then assign variables, and then there's a whole bunch of other macro indicators that you look at, like what forecasts of like interest rates and things like that, just to be thinking, looking at what are going to be your options 6 years downstream.
Exactly.
And that is a whole nother level of planning detail. And I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah, this is an entire platform for modeling that out, right?
Yeah.
Like started with just gameplay and game economies, and now has moved into being used more and more for tokenomics. And I'm sure NFT platforms are using it, et cetera. But I had no clue it existed. So I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing.
Machinations.
And the guy I was interviewing, it's machinations.io. I'll put it in the show notes. The guy I was interviewing said that they modeled out their tokenomics for their project completely using machinations. So really, really interesting. Really interesting. I'm going to put this in the link. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I hadn't really looked at Treasure DAO. I know people on our show have mentioned it before. But Treasure DAO is a derivative project from the Loot project, which was just this was all, remember this, Joe? We talked about this probably a year ago. This was those NFTs that came out, and all they were items for gameplay. And this was the NFT, like item names, and you bought the NFT and you got those items. And the purpose of the Loot project was they wanted to release this and then have people come in and build games and ecosystems and communities around the items, right? And so a bunch of people did. This thread gets into the fact that it was chaotic and there was a lot of backstabbing and fighting and blah, blah, blah. So Treasure DAO kind of spun out on its own and has now created an entire platform around this concept. And the guy that wrote the thread is claiming that Treasure DAO is the best gaming platform and community in all of crypto. But anyway, it's a very cool concept. I'm not a big gamer, but anybody who wants to check it out and wants to come in and talk about it on the show, we'd love to have you come on and tell us more about it. Give us your thoughts on it, et cetera. Especially if you're more oriented to gaming and NFTs. I'd love to learn more about it. Joe, you sent this one in. My kind of article, though. Chicago scientists are testing an unhackable quantum internet in their basement closet. The fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. This is at Argonne, I think Argonne National Lab or whatever. But there's other groups doing it too, and it's part of this race to, for the quantum internet and everything that quantum theory and mechanics can do. And there was big money put out in 2018. I don't remember it was what the legislation was called, but it was some kind of competitive thing, and a lot of money is going into quantum there. And then the Chips and Semiconductors Act also has a big chunk allocated to quantum. But what I posed on Twitter this morning was, okay, when you read how it works, it's like, the photons or the particles are handing the information off to the next one that then turns around and verifies it. And I said, shit, doesn't that sound a little bit like blockchain? And, in the way the messaging, communications, and the information gets transferred. And, the goal is to strap all these together, around the world. But, my question is, that centralized or decentralized? And so, because, we always talk about words mean like 50 different things at once, but I would invite everybody to read it and think it through. And then I'm just curious what people think.
Yeah, let's discuss it in the Reddit. Don't forget to head to reddit.com/r/mission DeFi, and we will post this into the discussion forum there.
Yeah, but it's pretty mind-blowing, and we've all done this. I mean, wasn't this the funnest time of your career? Strapping shit together in your bedroom or the garage or somewhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you have been around for a while, you look back on those days, and they're the hardest days to get through when you're in them sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you look back on them, you go, man, that was the fun times, because you hadn't already been, you hadn't done anything yet.
Exactly.
So it was like, it was all in the front of you.
You had no fear, no obligations, etc. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we always encourage anyone that has an idea, like even if someone's already come out first mover, if you feel like you got better, go for it, man. If you don't, you're going to regret it the rest of your life.
Oh, by the way, on that, Eamon said, not giving away, brainstorming. Exactly. Let's have the whole DeFi Lunch community create.
Do you guys like talk to each other? I mean, the people that listen, do you guys talk amongst yourselves other than say on Reddit or?
They probably have all private chats going where they talk about
critique
alpha and shit.
Oh, sons of bitches are talking about this now.
Exactly. Why do you still listen? I don't know. Let's start our own show.
Yeah. That's it. The National Quantum Initiative Act, 2018. Yeah.
All right. Luna Foundation Guard, LFG, has said they are now not going to, anytime in the future, near future, distribute as promised compensation to smaller accounts that lost money. They said the ongoing and threatened litigation has made them unable to do so. Guess what?
More money for lawyers.
Yeah, and guess where your next round of litigation is coming from?
Your class action from your users.
All the users that you promised you'd pay back.
Yeah, because first of all, promising to pay people back at that point, I think most people would say you don't really want to say that. No, you want to do it, you want to think it, and you want to plan to do it, but you just don't say it. Because odds are you don't even know what's coming next. We just talked about real options and machinations and everything. I mean, when those guys were going down the tubes, they weren't remotely thinking about how all this was going to play out later. And and that it's going to
don't promise anybody fucking anything if your business is collapsing around you. Just shut up. While everybody's going to be mad at you. Yes.
Do your best. Settle up. I mean, I think the Celsius guys kind of set the bar on that for in Voyager and all those guys. You throw it into bankruptcy court and everybody gets their whatever's
left, their piece.
Yeah.
Niblet said, I've made 10x more from Lunk than Luna promises. There you go.
I did pretty well on it too. I sold what I had at like wherever, I don't know how many zeros, but I think it was 54 or something after all those zeros. And I know it's kind of gone down, but they say it's going back up. I mean, I don't see anything going on there.
Remember how we've talked about metaverse in the past and how you have to create something compelling?
There you go.
How much are people actually using it?
Yeah.
Zuckerberg's metaverse app on quality lockdown because not even the development team that is building it uses it. And they were ordered to use it for
to have meetings in it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not fucking using it. Right. It's a fucking train wreck. And he's bet what, 2.5 billion on this shit.
Yeah. There was a big article on this in the New York Times today too. It's in my Twitter feed, but it just shows the whole internal thing. Everybody's like, oh, just got to keep Zuck happy. It's like, how much we making? Fuck it. Well, somebody go kiss his ass for a second. It's that kind of stuff. But that their metaverse play is, I don't know. It sounds a little dystopian to me.
Well, look, here's the same thing. Like, I love my kids. My son has Oculus.
Yeah.
And we play it once. I play it once every couple of months. My son plays it 2-3 times a month. But living in it, and this is VR, but living in it, it's not comfortable yet. I don't think we as humans have completely adapted to that yet. And unless you have something like, bam, I mean, think about the dopamine hits we need on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all day, all fucking day long. How are you going to recreate that in the metaverse? As I'm just wandering around, lollygagging, blah, 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 blah.
With a big old fucking headset.
Going to a convention, even without the headset, just going on the, it's like, you're not, when you're not going, you got to recreate the dopamine we get. What does Sean say? When you fail, act humble, do the right thing. Remember, in 10 years, it will be a funny story in the pub. Absolutely.
That's right, man.
That's damn straight. I have had my share of those horrible situations.
If you do that, then when you go back to your investors for more money for the next thing, you give them a better deal, they write checks. But if you go hide and screw them out at the end, fuck it, man. If they're not suing you, they're certainly not going to give you any money again. Yep. Your reputation in finance and in entrepreneurial fields is the most important thing.
That's right.
So don't blow it when you're young.
So have we done any better in the decentralized crypto metaverse? Nope.
The
38 daily active users in Decentraland.
And what's their market cap? Like 3 billion? I'm going to say
$1.3 billion invested, or about market cap or valuation. 1.3
just take that down to like 30 million, maybe.
Yeah. Niblet says Social brain activity in real life differs from the exact same interactions through video. Metaverse's use case isn't what they think it is, if it even is. Yeah. We have so much further to go before we get there. And it's funny, I saw a quote in that article where Vitalik actually called it out and said, we're not there yet, man. We're not even close to people living in the fucking metaverse. Well, and it's like, look, Zuck, you could have looked at the data. You know, you and I were talking about 6 months, a year ago, the fact that once you go into Centraland, you kind of hang out there for a few minutes. You go to a convention, you see a video presentation, whatever. And then what do? Right? What are you doing? You got to go build something for the other 37 people in there? No, you're not. You're not going to invest.
You're going to check out.
Look,
wait to see.
I'm excited that they have been. I'm excited that they're building. I'm excited that they continue to experiment. This is how we figure it all out. I think it will happen, but I also think we were way early, and a 1.3 billion ecos valuation is ridiculous. Shizzy says bear markets are tough. I'd give Decentraland a break for now. Yeah, look, I don't think they've done anything wrong. I just don't think. I don't think we're ready yet, and I don't think they were ready yet to fulfill the needs of humans to live in a metaverse. Now, you know, look, if my company, if I wanted to collaborate with developers and members of a DAO and Joe in a metaverse all day long, yeah, maybe, but there's a reason I work from home. I don't want to see Joe all day long.
That's right.
You know, but you're right. That's a good point. I could see metaverse applications in like an office environment, because I remember a movie way back when with maybe Demi Moore and Robert Redford where she was reverse sexually harassing him. And they were doing something with, you know, standing and visual and moving things around. They weren't in VR. I think it was like a hologram in front of them. Good point. And sorry, I just say that. But yeah, good point, Shizzy. He says Amazon was a bookstore.
Yeah.
Go ahead. In 98. But the idea is that there's a lot of them out there. And once you get in to this, it is, like you say, Shizzy, will they execute? And I think right now it's just that everybody is just in like a naggy mood about everything crypto. And so when you see something like this and you see the valuations, you're like, oh, come on, not again. But they're not looking at the potential 6 years down the road or 3 years down the road.
And here's the thing, Shizzy. Here's what Amazon did well and smart. Books first. Like, he had a vision to be more, but he just focused on books. Easy to stock, easy to resell, you know, something in demand, very searchable. You know, he took that niche and he started there. And that's what I think these metaverses are going to have to do. Who is someone that needs this kind of regular collaboration? Can you get DAOs to start using the metaverse? Can you get completely remote companies to start using your metaverse, right? Can you provide an environment that allows them to share screens and allows them to share work? Is there a way to turn the consumer side of it into something that people want to stay around for? Is it like, you know, a weekly meetup model where every Wednesday night, this group of people is coming into the metaverse pub and having a discussion about Bitcoin mining? I mean, that to me is what I think is key here. We have these big, broad, generalized things. And I think that they were on a good path when they had a lot of presentations and conventions, gatherings in the metaverse, right? But I also feel like the experience of those isn't the greatest either. We're so used to this in-person thing. So
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, dude. It's like, think about, there's in-person conference room meeting and then there's Zoom meeting. And what I think the metaverse could be is something in between, or some like portal that transits between the two. And I see big applications there for any kind of like cause or any kind of enterprise or any kind of joint effort. But I think when I look at, like, say, Decentraland now and the others, I always kind of think back to Second Life. And I think that, you know, while the original one, which now is a quite vibrant community, actually, of a lot of, say, the disabled community, that have formed groups in there where they do all kinds of stuff. But, you know, they have physical limitations in real world, so they can express themselves in a metaverse environment. I get that. To me, is beautiful. But when I think, like, people go in, like Brad said, and it's like, what do you do now? You know, and I see that a lot. You know, you go to a test net to test it out. It's like, what do we do now? Oh, okay, we stake some ETH. You know, it's like, now what do we do? Read some docs? No, go to the next thing. So I think that's where it is. It has to have a specific application at this point to get that big user adoption, because I just don't see people hanging out in there either.
Niblet says, recall Microsoft Bob and look up General Magic's Magic Cap. Forgot all about that. Failed completely. 1990s metaverses. He said their fundamental failures haven't been addressed. So here's what I think. I think, Shizzy, that Decentraland is in a beautiful position from a tech platform perspective to keep building, keep growing, and start looking for niche attractions. What can you do? What can you replace in the real world or in another digital part of our lives that makes it easier for me and makes me want to do it? Make it easy for me to onboard, make it seamless, all of those good things. I'm not dismissing Decentraland as a failure. I just think that I hope they've saved a ton of that money and can give themselves a couple of years to get there, because I think they're going to have that.
I'm just looking at it real quick. Mana. Yeah, I used to own Mana at one point, but I'm going to see where they are on a yearly chart. So peaked around 5-ish. It's at 77 cents. It's kind of doing like a big sideways slide, but you know, I still think there's future for these types of things. So I wasn't
definitely,
you know, in Mana, when I was looking back at like Engine and Mana and the other ones, it was one of the ones that I really liked back in like first quarter 21-ish time frame. So I think they can execute. I just think right now, you know, they're just in the doldrums like everybody else. But you know, it'd be cool if they could set up like things in there, like, you know, crypto trading platforms, let's say.
Yeah.
Or you know, betting. You know, something with FanDuel or something like that, where you could come in, it was like an OTB track setup where you could gamble in there. You know, those are the kind of applications I think would get this going.
Yeah, something that's already addicting by nature. I like that.
Yeah, in the real world. And, you know, and then bring those people into the metaverse. Oh, it's cold and rainy. You don't want to go to the track today? Well, come to, you know, you know, they got some kind of a brand for the racing form metaverse, you know, and pick the ponies in the comfort of your, you know, your recliner or something.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, there's big applications here. It just isn't quite there yet because everybody just bought land and tried to figure out what to do next. So
poker
I'm
tournaments
still plus on this.
Shizzy says, I agree, but I'm excited for them to figure it out. They have the funding and now it's time to build in the bear market. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Absolutely. This is how early we are. CBS News: hackers access 570 million in crypto with attack on Binance. Unknown hackers gained access to $570 million worth of cryptocurrency from Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. I mean, like, no concept of the fact that this had nothing to do with Binance, the exchange. It was a completely—
Was it a cross-chain bridge or something like that?
It was a bridge on the blockchain. It had nothing to do with the centralized exchange, like zero. But this is, you know, we got a lot of work to do to educate people, because obviously the journalists, whoever is writing this, they don't tell us at Money Watch, have zero clue. So,
well, they're just feeding on the hackers and DeFi themes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hackers and crypto. They went for the hackers and crypto theme. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it doesn't make sense, because I even heard at the end that the actual loss was only 100 million. It was recovered.
No, it was only 100 million. And they went the sensational headline, access to 570 million, but they locked it up.
Yeah.
I can't remember who in our audience in our community has Mt. Gox payments coming. Somebody does. Anyway, pushed out to 2023. It's truly astounding how fucking bad these bankruptcies are being handled, how badly they're being handled.
That was the first one, right?
It's like, yeah, but it's like the fucking Bitcoin is there. This is not fucking rocket science.
Isn't this in Japanese court too?
Yeah. But it's just—
they go a little slower. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad.
When did Mt. Gox go down?
I think before that, who was the guy who somebody smuggled out of Japan? They decided not to sit around and wait for the court dates. The Renault or the
2014.
Yeah.
Shut down in 2014. So 9 fucking years later, they can't figure out how to send fucking Bitcoin to people that it's owed to. That's pitiful.
Are they doing KYC on everybody they send it to?
I'm sure they already have. I mean, everybody had to file court documents.
No, that's true.
Saying I own this. It's astounding to me how bad these people are at this shit. It's just—
how much is left in there? How much is left in that?
I It's a lot. From what I understand, it's a good chunk of money.
Like how much of the overall Bitcoin market cap? 5%?
I have something in my head that said it's like $230 million worth of Bitcoin.
230 million?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not that much then. Okay.
No, it won't like impact the market.
Yeah, that's
it's
what I
a
was
lot to the people who are sitting around who bought it at what was the price of Bitcoin in 2013, 2014? Now they've made money.
A couple bucks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're wanting that. I mean,
exactly.
I'd be fucking screaming that I'd be living in Japan for the last 9 years.
Euphoric said, I remember we could only get BTC from Mt. Gox in exchange for Second Life tokens. Yeah, exactly. It was the only game. It was the only game.
Second Life tokens were the goddamn. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I got
Sean says it's been a pretty cool forced hodl, but huge selling pressure for next year. 165,000 BTC. So it's like, what the fuck?
165 out of
what's today's 20, price? We didn't even look at prices today.
It was like it was above 19 last time I looked, and
2361. Ooh, it's a good day.
Good. Yeah, I was in some doom and gloom circulating when I first got up, talking about this big sell-off, and I'm like, before I looked at the timestamp on the tweet, it was like 5 hours old. Oh, but then I looked at the numbers.
That's 3.3 billion.
I'm sorry?
3.3 billion
worth of BTC.
Yeah.
Out of what, 460B, 500B market cap for BTC?
Yeah.
Something like that.
They should stream that out. They should stream it out over months, but they should be doing it now. They should start now because these poor people are waiting for their fucking money.
Well, somebody's hopefully marketing them for these protocols where they can stake it and get yield.
19,153. Yeah, we're down. So my chart wasn't refreshed. Thank you, Sean.
Oops. Hope there weren't any fat finger trades because of that
one. Wobie is being bought. Blah blah. Who gives it?
You know who's buying it? Well, does it say it there?
Evidently Justin was supposed to be buying it, but evidently he didn't get it because political and security factors. It's being bought by a M&A company, I think, out of Hong Kong.
Oh, because there was another stuff that's circulating from him saying he bought it, or somebody was saying he bought it earlier. But yeah, no, he would buy it through an SPV or something like that, probably anyhow.
Maybe he's still involved. He just hit it because he's such a sleazebag. Wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, so what do you think of that deal? Even if he's in or not, I know you and he are BFF, but I'm wondering.
Well, I got a little bit fucked over on some tokens from the previous owner of that exchange. So I hope the people who are in there get their money, whatever, yada, 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 but they're just a bunch of piece of shit operators.
Oh, way back when? I don't want to say it on, but I get it. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
But yeah, I'm just,
yeah, those exchanges where it's like, OKX and Wobi and all not Kraken, but they're okay. But the other ones, the Korean ones, I was saying cakes of Korea, but those and the Chinese ones, we used to mess around in those back in the day. And you could find ARB opportunities between that and like Cryptopia, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And so we'd mess around there, but we never left anything there. It was only a place where you went.
And it's not from me having tokens there. It's from me. It was a secondary thing, but anyway.
No, yeah, I'm beyond that. I'm not talking about that deal.
Niblet said, does locked BTC count toward determining the price of BTC? If locked, is it inflationary or not? And Sean said, locked is considered bullish, less liquid supply, but that quantity of BTC hitting the market is as bearish as fuck. Yeah. 3.3 billion all dumped simultaneously would be a real fucking nightmare. Now, I don't think it'll all get dumped, but I would think if they had any sense, the people doing this would stream it out over months, right? Like, imagine if they had been streaming it out for the last 3 years, 5 years, whatever, so that, and also think about all these people that watched it hit $67,000 and sitting there thinking about how much it was worth for them. And now they're
that's a hard one.
Not so wealthy. Viper Protocol has launched a trustless over-the-counter platform. So I'm going to take a look at it, but very cool concept. This idea of doing these big deals that don't impact price. I'm assuming it's some kind of escrow collateral thing, but very, very interesting that somebody's launching a completely, I guess, decentralized, trustless over-the-counter platform, which is cool because that makes it easier for people that are holding large amounts of token that don't want to impact price in the open market to be able to do it. So again, I don't know all the details of how it functions, but very interesting.
That is cool.
Oh, here we go. The race to zero. The race to zero has begun in the NFT space. Manifold has launched Gallery, a zero fee marketplace for creators. So, you knew this was going to happen, right? You knew that somebody was going to say, fuck it, let's just go to zero. And so they have launched a zero fee NFT marketplace. So creators keep all their money.
Artists can come in direct, design their thing,
list their NFTs, yeah.
And then they're off to the marketplace.
And they don't pay Manifold or Gallery anything.
Wow. That's interesting. The whole thing I remember from the Doki Doki stuff was that, artists typically are hired on commission. And so they're living off these $50 gigs to design something that somebody else wants.
Yep.
Instead of directly doing art. I mean, art is, it's like Michelangelo pulling out a piece of marble, not knowing what he's going to sculpt. And he waits for divine inspiration, and he waits for the thing to come out of the marble. That's art. Yep. Someone saying, draw me a picture of this. It's not the same thing. So I love the fact that these types of platforms empower the artists to go direct, on the creative side, their voice.
Yeah.
Versus someone else's. That is cool.
Yep.
I don't know about that one, but
that one's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a scary one. That looks a little like Frida Kahlo-esque, in a black and white thing.
Oh, that's what I just did. It's interesting.
Let's see yeah, I mean, when we went to what was the conference we went to last year in Miami in December? Decentraland or something like that?
Decentral.
Decentral, yeah. Yeah. And I remember going to those NFT galleries there, and it was just amazing stuff. When you really get a chance to see it in person, these kinds of ones with motion and everything. There's some very interesting creations. And, as one who's always been intrigued by where art goes next, when you think about how, it was like realist kind of portraiture, then it went into like impressionist, expressionist, and cubism, and, poppy and all that stuff. It's like, and then they tried to mix medium, and then it went kind of digital. But, nobody's kind of broken through to the next thing. And I'm always waiting to see where that's going to come from. Yeah. And, some of the younger art students, the high school kids that I've talked to, they kind of see it in the Gen Zers, they kind of see it in the NFTs could be that place. So I was kind of surprised with all the anti-environmental or the environmental anti-NFT stuff we hear all the time.
I hope somebody buys this one.
That's cute.
That's cute. Anyway, that's all I got today, Joe. You good?
Yeah, we could talk all day, of course. What do we have? What time? Oh, yeah, we're about done.
I've been fasting. I'm ready for lunch. I'm starving.
Yeah, I think it's good. We got the Fed stuff or the inflation print coming up in Thursday, I believe, this week. So we have some economic data coming that's going to affect things, depending on where expectations are. So that's the one thing I'm looking at this week. And then, of course, DXY and all the other big geopolitical macro stuff going on. But I think I don't feel like that unless the CPI print comes in way out of expectations, I don't feel like there's anything really, really huge here that could really just throw everything into the shitter. There might be that V coming down, but I just don't see the economic hammer yet here. And again, of course, I'm being US centric, so I know everybody else has different perspectives on this, but to me, I think the mother of all stimulus always
I bought this one for you, Joe.
Oh God, it looks like one of my ex-girlfriends. She was a little too industrial for me, man. But God, that picture's rough. But I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, we're just wait and see mode like everybody else. I mean, Jarvis is wait and see, Kingfish is wait and see, XBT is wait and see, Material Indicators is wait and see. I saw your message, your guys' tweet this morning. Everybody's predicting big move incoming, but nobody knows which way. So, be safe, I guess.
You want me to buy you the Christos trading card?
No, I'm agnostic, dude.
Yeah, I know. Funny.
I'm not anti.
What happens if you burn that NFT?
Yeah, you go to hell, right?
Go to fucking hell.
straight to hell. So that's the one you want to bind. You want to put some ETH backing on.
And then you go to hell
like a chain binders one. But you do a chain binders like that and you launch it and you say, if you burn it, you're going to hell. And I bet anybody who's going to buy a Jesus NFT is going to have some real second thoughts about that once you put it in their head.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what you do? You hire some a medium or something to put a curse on your NFTs for anybody that burns it. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, that's just going to be apping with people too hard, man. That's too hard. That's too big a grift.
Thanks, everybody. Sean, Niblets, Euphoric, Shizzy, Eamon, everybody that participated today. We love you. We appreciate you. Everybody that listens and watches, thank you so much. If you're listening to the podcast, please just take a minute. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, give us a rate, a review, and a subscribe. It really helps us boost the signal and get more people listening and watching and participating. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed and you click the little bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Go to the Mission DeFi Reddit, reddit.com/r/Mission DeFi or r/Mission DeFi to participate, discuss, tell us what you think we do right, tell us what we fuck up, and tell us any ideas you have for topics for this show or Mission DeFi, the interview show.
Did you catch Brett there?
Say something else.
No, I got something. And in my section, Pathfinder 305s from 305 reports, I put 2 new reports in there. One is Web3 report from actually last fall, but it's from A16Z, so it's got good stuff in it still. And the other is, speaking of NFTs, is a long report from Resolute, I think, about 120 pages talking about top 30 enterprise use cases for NFTs. Definitely recommend you read that. But anyhow, thanks. That looks like, waking up in the olden days after a club until 5 or something, and then coming out of the bathroom and go, what the?
I shouldn't make fun of it. It's actually kind of cool, but it's weird.
What is in her mouth? Its mouth?
I can't tell. It looks like she's vomiting flour. It's vomiting flowers.
Oh.
I don't know.
I mean, it's clever. I mean, it's not my.
I like the colors.
Yeah, you like what you like. I mean, that's to me. I like things that make me feel good. If there's something that's going to provoke me, I want it to be something that's like a big brain provocation, not a WTF provocation.
Yeah.
And so that's just not. But I think that's cool. But I like the colors of it.
Yeah.
And I like the shadow. That's cool too.
Cool.
So, selfish.
All right. Adios,
Anyhow.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you. It's been great. We'll see you guys tomorrow.